Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of Bass to Bass with me, Lisa T, and my good friend Glen Kellaway.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Glenn.
Great to see you this morning.
Good to see you too.
I've
So
been
this is
excited.
a series where we talk about our love of the bass guitar and our favorite bass players and et cetera, et cetera. and so today we are going to be ranking our top 5 favorite bass players. This is by no means saying that these are the very best bass players. These are just our favorites, and we welcome anybody watching to put their favorite bass players in the comments. Um, or, if you want to, tell us that we're wrong or
Yeah.
tell us how wrong we are. Go ahead and, let us know in the comments who we left off. Um, but I guess we'll start with some honorable mentions, people who didn't make your list, Glenn, and then you go with your number 5, and then I'll chime in with my number 5, and we'll just go back and forth like that, right?
Okay, that sounds good. You want me to do one honorable mention and then you're doing one, or are we doing?
No, just
go through them all.
Yeah, you just tell us who didn't make your list, and then start your list, and I'll do the same.
The incredible Jerry Germont never made my list. You familiar with Jerry?
I've heard of him, but I'm not super familiar with him.
Well, just an amazing bass player and played on a ton of stuff.
Okay.
The two essentials that I think if anybody's interested in just classic albums are Aretha Franklin live.
Oh wow! So I've definitely heard his work then for sure.
Yeah, great.
I just wasn't familiar with his name.
So this band that backed Aretha Franklin on that show is King Curtis's band. And
okay.
The amazing King Curtis. That's who Jerry Germont played with live at the Fillmore West. Another amazing album. So if you want to hear Jerry Germont's work, that's probably the best. He played session work with Ray Charles and Aretha and King Curtis, and I mean he played.
Wow. How do I spell his last name, or so that people can find him?
Jermott.
Okay, cool. That way, if anybody wants to find his work, yeah.
Yes. Next, a woman I mentioned on our last video fleetingly just asked if you were familiar with her. Is Paul Wilkenfeld from Australia.
I've seen her on several lists. I watch a lot of bass videos, and a lot of people have. Well, I shouldn't say a lot. I think I've seen 2 that either gave her an honorable mention or put her on their list.
Yeah, she's really famous for playing with Jeff Beck. He kind of made her.
Okay.
There's videos of her when she played Jeff Beck's band that she just did incredible stuff. He really let her shine and have her moments. This is Transformation is an all instrumental, kind of a funky, jazzy type album. And then she always fashions herself a singer-songwriter. And last year she put out a kind of a song, an album where she sings and does her songs. One of the songs actually is just her playing bass and singing a song. It's beautiful, but that's her album. Love Remains.
And I know this is about their bass playing, but I have to say that is some amazing hair.
Yeah, she's got incredible hair.
I want that hair.
No doubt about it. That's her trademark.
Yeah.
When I knew this album was coming out, she did one of those GoFundMe things. I don't know if it was Bandcamp or whatever it is, when you pre-order the album before she makes it to raise money. So I did that, and then
that's great
for it. But anyway, so when her album came out, I bought it immediately, and then this came in the mail autographed. So I got 2 copies of this. You're getting some VCLT. You're going to get one of these.
Oh my gosh! Thank you.
Yeah, I think you'll enjoy it. Next, one of the great bass players of all time. He could make anybody's number 1, I guess. Jaco Pastorius. Incredibly.
Oh, yeah.
Jaco Man, he did some great work with Joni Mitchell.
Yeah. And so many others, and has a lot of. I have that album right there. I would like more of his stuff, but I do have that one. I found it at a thrift shop.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't believe it. I think people just don't know who he is, so they just kind of overlook him. But man,
unfortunately, sadly, he had some mental issues and ended up dying a tragic death. But
right.
One of my favorite bass players of all time, and he should be on my top 5. Tony Levin. The amazing
Tony Levin.
So
he's great. He's great.
His own solo albums out here. He also does a thing, the stick. Have you ever seen him play the stick bass? It's like it doesn't have a body on it. It's just
right.
Stick with about 12 strings on it, and you just kind of. Isn't
that amazing?
It's incredible.
That's amazing to me. That's my next thing.
So Tony played with, he tours, not anymore because Peter Gabriel's not touring, but toured with Peter Gabriel for years, did session work with John Lennon. His resume's long.
I've seen his name. I don't know that when you showed that picture, I feel like I've seen that picture somewhere before, probably in a bass magazine or something. I don't know, but I have seen his name. I know that I've seen his name in many liner notes.
I'm a big fan of King Crimson, and he plays with King Crimson, and I've seen that times. And there's Tony right there.
Yeah.
And, these guys are amazing live, and Tony just blows you away. There's this is actually King Crimson live in Toronto.
Nice.
2015. So
look at that. Look at those drums.
Yeah, they've got 3 drummers.
That's insane.
It is insane. So Tony Levin. Who else do I have here? There's a couple I didn't bring up. I want to mention that I didn't bring albums of. Geddy.
I don't have any albums with me. I was just going to put pictures in the video.
Geddy Lee.
Oh, of course. And that amazing book that you showed me before. When we were just talking.
If anybody is interested, this is called Lee's Big Beautiful Book of Bass. Fantastic book, hardcover book, full of all kinds of pictures and everything. Just a gorgeous book. But Geddy Lee.
You couldn't have opened up to a better page. Did you see the page that you opened up to?
No.
You opened up to you opened it up, and there was just 4 beautiful basses. That was all that.
There's a whole bunch. This is just a gorgeous book.
Nice.
Anybody's even if you're just a Rush fan or Geddy Lee, you want that book. It's great.
I'm putting that on my Christmas list for my husband for sure.
Marcus Miller, amazing bass player, jazz bass player, kind of funk jazz.
Oh yeah. In fact, yep.
Who played with Miles Davis and has his own Marcus Miller.
Yep. Yeah.
Incredible player. Flea, even though I'm not a Red Hot Chili Peppers fan, Flea is just the most.
You gotta be. I'm a fan of his as well. Same thing. I think I maybe like about maybe 4 songs from Red Hot Chili Peppers, honestly. And I really am not a fan of their albums either. I end up not being able to listen to the whole thing every time. Even Mother's Milk, I can't listen to the whole thing. But Flea is amazing.
Yeah.
He is something.
Les Claypool from Primus. Les Claypool's an incredible bass player. He also played with. He's got a band right now with Sean Lennon, John's son. They have the.
I didn't know that.
Claypool Lennon. I forget what they call it now, but yeah, great. It's kind of kind of weird. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but really good music. And one more, Stanley Clarke, the great jazz bass player.
Oh, he's a great jazz bass player.
Yeah. And that's and who else? Okay, one more. Bob Babbitt. Another great.
I'm not familiar with Bob Babbitt.
Bob Babbitt's another session bass player.
Oh, okay.
Played on a couple of songs to mention that he played great bass on. Midnight Train to Georgia. Got Us Night in the Pips. and signed, sealed, and delivered. Stevie Wonder. He plays some great bass.
I wonder if he play a 5-string bass. Stevie Wonder often wanted he's all about the 5-string, and
yeah, you know. I'm not sure about that, but that's my list of honorable mentions.
Those are your honorable mentions. I'll go. Yeah, I'll go through. Do you want me to go through my honorable mentions before we start our list?
Absolutely.
Okay, mine are not as in depth as yours. I didn't pull out records or anything, but of course, you know, I already touched about this in episode 1. But Pete Farndon from the Pretenders.
Oh yeah.
And he, you know, just as far as one of my favorites, just because of you know, when I was first trying to learn the bass when I was 15, that album, the Pretenders debut album, you know, that's the album that I used to I was trying to figure out what he was doing and trying to emulate it. So that will always be special to me. And of course, from The Who, John Entwistle, there's not, you know, there's no, what else is there to say about him? He was, you know, the best. Yeah. And then
John,
honorable mention,
John Entwistle. He's more of almost like a lead player, like in The Who.
Yeah.
So it's not really like just
he demanded attention. And you know, when rock and roll first, you know, that was one thing that was different about rock and roll, is that it wasn't really bass, you know, focused around the bass, but he kind of demanded to be heard.
Oh yeah.
So
amazing.
You know,
great stuff. Yeah.
And then another honorable mention, Janice Marie Johnson from A Taste of Honey. Now, I used to not like A Taste of Honey. I was angry with them for winning a Grammy in a category where they were up against the Cars. And I just thought, how the hell can Get Down Boogie Oogie Oogie win against the Cars? And I was pissed. My little, you know, 10 or 11-year-old self was just the injustice, you know. But since then, I have learned more about her and listened to her. Man, she was just, or still is, she's still alive, an incredible bassist.
What was her name?
Janice Marie Johnson. A Taste of Honey, Get Down. They did that. I think their big hit was really Get Down Boogie Oogie Oogie. You know, it was around the disco era.
I like that song.
Oh, I hated that song too. But you know what though? But if I go back now and I listen to the bass of it though, and I'm like, you know, this may be kind of a stupid song, but she's killing it. She's killing it on the bass.
Well,
you know,
it is funny because I'm in the camp of disco sucks. I hated disco when it was out. I hated anybody.
Oh, I love disco.
And but since I started playing the bass, I've grown to appreciate it because the bass in those songs.
The great bass. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Well, and then now too, I think we kind of realized that the whole disco sucks. That was actually a propaganda campaign, and it was fueled by the record industry, who was trying to get people in a different direction. And also the whole thing was kind of steeped in racism and homophobia, really. You know, but we just were blunt. We didn't realize it because, you know, that's the way that stuff works. You don't realize you're being manipulated, but man, I still love disco, but I had to pretend to hate it when I was a kid, or that would have been the death of me, you know. I mean, I wouldn't have had a friend left in the world if they knew I loved disco.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's the way it was. And then, of course, honorable mention for Victor Wooten. You know, great bassist.
He's in my
awesome. Robert Trujillo, of course, from Metallica, but I've really gotten into him. I'm not a big Metallica fan, but I've really gotten into him lately because I bought on Record Store Day that Infectious Grooves album, and man, I just can't stop listening to it. And,
really?
It's like prog metal, and I'm not a metal fan, but it's really not. It's really pleasing to my ears. It doesn't offend my ears like a lot of metal does. Yeah. And then of course Adam Clayton, honorable mention from U2, you know, really great bassist. Not too flashy, just kind of get the job done. I like that. And then Flea, of course, Flea, you know, So those are my honorable mentions. Now let's go ahead. We're 15 minutes in, and we're finally going to start with our list.
Okay.
But we love the bass, though. It's really hard to narrow it down to 5 bass players, but let's do it.
It is. So I'm ranking. So
Who's your number 5?
Number 5. Oh my God, I gotta get my list here. My number 5 is the one guy. When I first started playing the bass, I thought if I could just play some of these riffs that he did,
yeah,
I would be very happy. Jack Bruce. Incredible bass player. This is Jack's first solo album, actually. So,
awesome. Awesome.
But yeah, Cream. I thought if I could just play the bass for Sunshine of Your Love and White Room. White Room's got a great bass lick.
I love that. Love that.
Yeah, so that's he's my number 5, and he's a great musician.
I'm gonna have to go listen to that now. As soon as we're done, I'm gonna go listen.
Yeah, I learned White Room. I thought, oh, that's it, man. I don't need to learn any.
That's a great song. Great song. I for the longest time I didn't know who that was. I was born in '67, so it was like my age group was more like alternative 80s kind of, and then what got played on the radio. And my parents weren't really listening to rock and roll. They always were like Carole King.
Oh yeah,
Taylor, Taylor. Yeah, that kind of singer-songwriter stuff. But I was I bought this soundtrack to this movie that wasn't that great called 1969, and it had Winona Ryder and Robert Downey Jr. And Kiefer Sutherland and Mariette Hartley.
Oh.
I always liked her a lot, But that song White Room was on that album, and so I was like, oh my God! I played it over and over. That's so great.
Okay, that's great. Your number 5.
My number 5 is Suzi Quatro, and when I told you my friend had the bass, and I was curious about learning, and he was like, Suzi Quatro plays the bass, and he had several of her albums. She played Leather Tescadero on Happy Days.
Yeah.
And but she's just an incredible bassist. But I heard that song Can the Can, and I was just blown away. She's 70 now, and there's videos of her out there. She is better than ever. She was a lot more popular in Europe than in the United States. I was reading on her Wikipedia page that she sold like 50 million records.
Wow, that's crazy.
Around the world, but she just never her big hit here in the United States was that song Stumbling In, which is not really a good example of a bass song. Mm-hmm. She does play the bass on it, but it's not featured, But yeah, that was a big inspiration for me, because I was like, wow, Suzi Quatro, she's, So yeah, so she's my number 5. Oh, incidentally, we're gonna make a playlist for everybody of all of the bass players that we're mentioning. We're gonna put some of our favorite songs of theirs on the playlist. It'll be here on YouTube. In my channel description, I think is where you'll find the link to the playlist link.
Awesome. That's So Suzi Quatro, I have totally ignored that artist my whole life. I couldn't name a Suzi Quatro song, but now you've got me intrigued. I'm gonna.
Oh, she's fantastic. Devil Gate Drive was another song of hers that really inspired me. So she's great. Who's your number 4?
My number 4. Barry Oakley from the Allman Brothers.
Oh, nice.
Great blues, rock.
Did they do that song, Melissa?
Yeah, Melissa's an Allman Brothers song. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there's a good bass line on Melissa. Yeah. I like that. I like that. Awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, this is a classic album. essential as far as I'm concerned. Allman Brothers Live at the Fillmore, and he plays amazing on this. And I would say the songs that I loved his bass playing on the bass lines are One Way Out, Done Somebody Wrong. Yeah, just amazing stuff. You Don't Love Me. There's a few, but this is a great album in bass. And sadly, I mean, Dwayne Allman died on a motorcycle accident, and a year later, almost to the day, Barry Oakley did the same thing. So lost.
Wow, motorcycle accident?
Yeah.
Wow, man, what a coincidence.
But his bass playing always stood out to me. I've been an Allman Brothers fan since I first heard them in the early '70s, and so he's my number 4.
Well, I'll definitely have to check out more from them. I like the Allman Brothers band. I honestly, I don't even think I own any of their music, but I'm definitely going to check out more of I know some of their songs, but I don't know. See, this is so great about this when you get two people that kind of, are from two different musical kind of worlds in a way. Mm-hmm. So we get to learn new artists from each other. And before we even started making this video, we were turning each other on to new artists. This is so cool.
Yeah.
And Allman Brothers is classic. I mean, I think they're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Oh, so I believe they are. And if they're not, they certainly should be.
No, they're in
there. But I need to learn more from them.
Yeah. Live at the Fillmore is where to go. That's the album.
My number 4 is actually Marcus Miller, who you mentioned earlier.
Awesome.
Of course, he played with Miles Davis, Herbie Hancock, Luther Vandross. He's played with he's played with everybody from like Frank Sinatra to Beyonce.
Yeah.
I think probably the one song that I really like is he did the bass for Just the Two of Us, Grover Washington Jr. featuring Bill Withers.
Well, Wine Light is one of my favorite albums of all time. Grover Washington.
Isn't that great? Beautiful album.
Yeah, and the bass playing on that is great. And I didn't know it was Marcus Miller on that song because it's
Marcus Miller. He's awesome. So that's Marcus Miller is my number 4.
Oh, that's a great pick. Awesome. Yeah. I saw. So we're going to talk about Victor Wooten in a few minutes. You mentioned him in honorable mentions because he's one of my favorites. And so I'm a big fan of Bela Fleck and the Flecktones, being a banjo player. I don't know. Bela is one of my heroes, and Victor has become one. And I saw them at the Montreal Jazz Festival sometime in the mid-'90s. And the opening act was the Marcus Miller Band.
Wow. How about that? Getting the two of them together. Oh my God. That would be
Miller. I wasn't aware of him at all. I'd never heard of the man. I didn't know who I was seeing. And then when I saw and I was reading, they have the programs or whatever, you can read a bit of a history. I'm going, oh wow, this guy's like something, right? He's a big deal. And his band was just amazing. They were so good. And then as soon as I got out of the theater, I went to the merch counter and bought the Marcus Miller CD. Yeah, he's amazing. Yeah, good pick. So we're on to what, number 3?
We're on number 3.
Okay. My number 3 is, I'm a Beatles nut. Paul McCartney. How can you not pick?
Oh, of course. You know what? I kind of thought, I was telling my husband last night that I thought that he might end up being your number 1. I said, I bet you his number 1's going to be Paul McCartney, because
he could be number 1.
Huh?
Number 1. There's no problem. He would have been. I think Paul is an amazing bass player and very melodic.
He's an incredible bassist.
He was influenced greatly by my number 1 pick, who I'm not going to mention yet.
Oh, well, so then that would definitely give the edge to number 1.
Yeah, and Paul.
My number 2 eclipsed my number 3 for that reason. I thought I can't put them at 2 when the person who influenced them is also on my list. So
yeah, so Paul did something weird. Like he took the bass pretty seriously when he was in the Beatles, and he used to record the bass almost at the end. That was like the last thing to go on the tracks. Most bass, it's the bass and the drums and the rhythm are basically
Right.
to record, and he would record that last so he could spend time coming up with these really intricate melodic bass lines. And if you listen closely, especially on Sgt. Pepper,
Yeah.
Little Help from My Friends, and It's Getting Better, and all those songs, listen to the bass lines. They're incredible. And Abbey Road, too. Like,
Yeah.
the bass, he's an amazing musician.
He's amazing. I was wondering how they accomplished that, because I noticed a lot of times the bass almost kind of hugs the melody
Mm-hmm.
of the, and it really is there's times when the vocal and the bass are almost just completely in sync, and I was,
Absolutely.
gosh, how the hell did he accomplish that? And that, okay, now I know he waited till, that was really smart of him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He was always about putting the music first.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that was my number 3, Mr. McCartney.
Okay, well, my number 3 is Tina Weymouth from Talking Heads. I love her. She's one of my all-time favorites. Of course, the iconic bass line from Psycho Killer. It's funny, she actually, when she created that bass line, she had only been playing the bass not even a couple of years. I think actually less than that. But she had perfected it by the time they finally recorded it in 77. They had actually started playing that song in 74 before they ever made an album. And it kind of evolved over time until, you got, I mean, everybody, as soon as you hear it, right away, oh, that's Psycho Killer. There's nothing else that sounds like it. But also not just her work with Talking Heads, but Tom Tom Club's Genius of Love.
Mm-hmm.
The bass on that is
that's her too?
Amazing. It is incredible.
I'm learning. I'm making notes.
And Tom Tom Club is just one of those fun bands. They're not they're not really socially conscious, not too much. They're just more about having fun and dancing kind of thing. But they also do occasionally, in that song Genius of Love, it kind of being about I'm in heaven with my boyfriend. It kind of people focused on that, and I never realized until just last year I was really listening to the lyrics, and they're talking about Sly and Robbie and Bootsy Collins, and I was like, holy shit, this song is like it's a tribute to funk, so
I have to listen.
Yeah, but she if you go on, and I'm actually going to put this in our playlist. I'm going to put the performance of Talking Heads, Born Under Punches, performed in Italy. It is just incredible. She is on bass, but they actually also incorporated a second bassist, and I'm trying to remember his name actually. I know his name. It's just slipped my mind for the moment. But anyway, I'm gonna put that on our playlist. Cool. But yeah, she's a big inspiration to me. The whole album "Remain in Light" is just incredible.
Yeah.
It was born out of just one big jam session. The band started. The rhythm section, her and her husband Chris France, who plays drums, and then from there the lyrics were brought in. It was just that whole album was just born from just a one big jam session, and that's pretty much what it sounds like. But it's still a great album. Wow. So yeah, Tina Weymouth, she's incredible, and she's still killing it. And also their performance, they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2002, their very first year of eligibility. And they played Psycho Killer and Burning Down the House and Once in a Lifetime, cool. I believe. Yeah, and she just sounded great. but um, she did a little home concert just last year. Still sounds amazing. She's
Oh, really?
incredible. Yeah,
Interesting.
Tina Weymouth. Mm-hmm.
You got me intrigued. Where are we now? Number two?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. One of my musical heroes.
Victor Wooten.
Oh,
Yes.
you know,
And he is a better bassist than most of the people on my list. He
yeah,
just didn't inspire. I put mostly the people who really inspired me, but he is amazing.
incredible, incredible talent. One of the great musicians on the planet, as far as I'm concerned. Um,
Yeah.
he has an album, a CD, which for some reason I can't find. I lost it. Called Show of Hands, where it's just him playing instrumental bass, no overdubs, and it's absolutely incredible. I've lost Lisa.
No, I'm still here. I
Oh,
had to
there you
blow my
are.
nose. I didn't want to have people have to see me blow my nose on camera. I'm sorry, but I'm
Oh,
still
okay. Yeah,
here.
you do that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But so anyway, Victor.
Sorry.
I discovered Victor because I'm a banjo player, and one of my musical
Yeah.
heroes is Bela Fleck, who's the greatest banjo player on the planet and one of the great musicians on the planet. And he started this band called Bela Fleck and the Flecktones. And that's when I
They're
first
great.
discovered Victor. And he's incredible. I've seen this band live. Like I'm like a deadhead for the Flecktones. I made my wife Lynn, poor girl, drive all over Hell's Half Acre.
Oh, that's
We've seen them in
awesome.
Boston. We've seen them in Cleveland.
I'm sure she had a great time. I
We've
don't
seen
think
them
she was
in
suffering.
Buffalo and Montreal and South Carolina, and I can't think of all the places I've seen them. I've met all the band members numerous times, and
Wow.
a freaking awesome guy. Um, this is an incredible. If you're a bass player at all, you'd love this. You can watch excerpts from this on YouTube, the Groove Workshop. So he's really all about the groove rather than the notes. Like there's
Yeah, yeah.
this video where he has a few students in front of him, and he plays all the notes you should play in the particular chord sequence, but he plays it kind of flat and just plays it, And then
Right.
every note that you should not play in that chord sequence that would be considered totally wrong, and he plays it with like a real feeling and groove, and
Yeah.
he asked the people to choose which one sounded better, and the one with all the wrong notes sounded incredible. It's
He's
like,
amazing.
yeah,
And I also was reading, just, I was just reading up on the people that, that have inspired me, or people that I've learned about that are, that I'm looking to now as I move forward and learning more about the bass. And I was reading that he's not really a fan of bass solos.
really, he sure plays a lot of them.
Yeah, that's what I have a little note here from, it said on, I think it was his Wikipedia page, he's not a fan of bass solos. And I went,
Wow,
okay.
he plays some incredible bass solos. He's unbelievable.
I know, but that's odd.
Wow. So one thing I want to mention, if anybody's interested in looking at this, is a great album, Bela Fleck and the Flecktones,
Yeah.
UFO to Tofu. There's one song in particular on here called "Sex in a Pan," which
Sex in a Pan.
"Sex in a Pan." He wrote that song. He was inspired by James Brown's song "Sex Like a Sex Machine," so it's got
Yeah.
that funky feel to it. It's just the funkiest song you ever heard in your life. That's the song that I want you to put on the playlist.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, it's incredible, incredible. So yeah, the great Victor Wooten, number 2.
Okay. Well, my number 2 is the great Bootsy Collins.
Oh, he was on my list too at one point.
He just couldn't quite make it. You got sort of so many people to put
I
on the
know.
list. Like I had to drop some that were like I didn't want my honorable mentions to be like 50 people long.
No. Yeah.
I was like, there was so many that I had to kind of, well, but Bootsy Collins, of course, he was at one point number 3 just because Tina Weymouth has inspired me so much. But then I was like, no, I, he's got to be number 2 because he was one of the greatest inspirations to her.
Yeah.
And of course, I think the best example of his work would probably be the album Mothership Connection from Parliament.
Mm-hmm.
Man, just the whole album. I'm not even going to just recommend one song. The whole album. The whole album.
Wow.
Of course, well, Unfunky UFO though would be a good place to start. Or and this song, I can never say the title. I wrote it down so I could try. It's Super Groovalistic Prosa Funktication.
Did that come out of Mary Poppins?
No. It's just an awesome Bootsy Collins. It's an awesome example of. I'm going to put it on our playlist because I'm not even going to try to pronounce that again.
Yeah, we should give away a prize for anybody who can spell that.
Nobody would win.
No.
Nobody would win.
No, that's
oh my gosh. Oh, and then he had the Brides of Funkenstein, which also he had a second bassist on there as well, Skeet Curtis, I should mention. So if you go to listen,
did he play on that Funkadelics Maggot Brain album?
Yes, he did. And he's another one of those that have just, played with just about everybody at one point. Mm-hmm. He was kind of a jack of all trades kind of bass player. He could fit in with, and I was going to put him in my honorable mentions, but then I decided I'll just mention him when I mention the, Bride of Funkenstein, because that was where, his work is most, I think I like that a lot.
That's
okay, awesome. Man. So we're at number 1.
Number 1. Hold on a second. Okay, Paul McCartney, I mentioned, was influenced greatly by this man, the genius James Jamerson.
Oh, wow!
Motown.
Awesome. Yes.
So James Jamerson.
Yeah.
If people haven't heard the name, they've heard him play on a million songs. And
yeah, yep.
2017, he was named the top bass player, top out of 100 in Bass Player Magazine's poll.
Right.
This year, in 2020, he was named number 1 in Rolling Stone's top 50 bass players of all time. Incredible resume. I wrote down just a few of the songs I think he played on. Oh, where did I go with? Okay, My Girl. Shotgun, Junior Walker. For Once in My Life, Stevie Wonder. I Was Made to Love Her, Stevie Wonder. Dancing in the Streets, Martha and the Vandellas.
That was a great performance.
1962 to 1971, Motown never listed the session players. After 71, they started. He never got any credit for any of these great songs. That's the Funk Brothers. That's what they called the Motown session band, the Funk Brothers. They played on everything. I got this Motown comp. This is a great comp if you could ever find it. Hitsville, USA, the Motown singles collection. Fantastic.
Wow.
Nice. These songs on incredible, but I would say Mr. Jamerson's probably on 90% of these. One
probably
song I want to mention that's my favorite bass playing of his is Marvin Gaye's song "What's Going On."
Oh yes. See, I never knew that he was the bass player. I never knew that.
Marvin Gaye wrote this song. He's in the studio. They don't have. He wants to record it right away. They can't find Jamerson. He goes out to all the jazz clubs. Jamerson liked to have a few and just play in clubs.
Like throw some back.
So they find him in a jazz club jamming away. He's drunk out of his friggin' mind. And they bring him back to the studio because Marvin Gaye's has got to get this song down. Mark, James Jamerson can't even stand up. He lays
Oh
down
my
on
gosh.
the floor, and they play the track for him, and he lays on the floor drunk as you could possibly be, and comes up with the most incredible, beautiful bass lines you've ever heard in your life. There's a YouTube video where they isolate his bass, and you got to hear.
Oh, really?
Yeah, let's go. Just check out.
We should put that on the playlist too, in
Yeah,
addition
so
to
check
what.
out James Jamerson's isolated bass line from What's Going On. It will blow your mind. I tried to learn how to play that bass line for a year, and could never get it the way he plays it.
I wonder if he could even replicate it.
Oh, I don't know. He was an amazing player. He never changed his strings. He never wiped his strings ever. And he told his son, who is a bass player, I think a session musician in LA now, he said that's where the funk is.
Really?
Dirt and grime and everything. Yeah. Incredible man. Incredible bass.
Oh my gosh.
This is a book that you should get your hands on. It's Standing in the Shadows of Motown, The Life and Music of legendary bassist James Jamerson. It's an incredible
I'm writing
book.
it down.
It tells his story, plus it gives all the music for Ain't That Peculiar and My Guy and What's Going On. And they talk, like Paul McCartney's in here. There's every bass player talks about him and their influence. And
Awesome.
Great book. This is a must-have for anybody who plays bass.
I like that play on Standing in the Shadows of Motown. Did he play on the song Standing in the Shadows of Love?
Yes.
Okay, I was wondering.
Yeah.
Well, Tony asked me to give him a list of stuff because he says I'm really hard to buy for because I never want anything. And when I do, I just sort of go, well, I'll look for it and get it myself, and he'll never hear about it, you know? So he's like, I'm going to need a list from you. He said, I'm sorry, but I just really, he said, I am at a loss. I have no idea. So I'm going to put these two books, the Geddy Lee Book of the Bass and this one on there, because I would love that. And I bet you already know who my number one is. I'm sure you do.
Go ahead.
Anybody who's ever watched my channel knows who my number one is. I almost made my list of my five favorite bass players other than Carol Kay.
Well, I mean, he's an amazing choice. So
Carol Kay is number one. Carol Kay is almost in the same situation as James Jamerson, except there did come a point, especially when she started doing the soundtracks, movie soundtracks with Quincy Jones, where they did start giving credit to the studio musicians. But they estimate that it was thought that she might have played on about 10,000 tracks, but but now that now that it's coming out, all of the different she sent me a list of songs that she played on.
Oh wow.
The sheet was like this, and it was just da 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 da, and then you turn it over and it's just, oh my god. And that was just she's like, these were my favorite ones that I played on.
And they're all hits too. Like it's and
those were just her favorites. And she's like, there's thousands more I forgot about that I don't even remember doing. But
That's incredible. Wow.
But she she's just incredible. I can't believe how many people are surprised to find out she's a woman. Just somebody the other day said to me in the comments, I had talked about her in one of my videos, that that he just assumed that it was a guy named Carol, like Carol O'Connor. It's like, no, no, she's actually a woman. But she started out as a guitarist, and she actually really loves the guitar, and she's trying to get back into the guitar. And she loves the bass, but it also irritates her a little bit that people keep trying to talk about the bass with her because she's wanting to go back to the guitar. But I'm like, but you're probably the best, I would say, save from, Jocko, you might be the best bass player that ever lived.
Yeah.
So, but she,
resume.
Some of my favorite examples of her work would just be the whole album, Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys, just the whole album. That's incredible. Although I will say a lot of people mistake that string bass on Good Vibrations for her. She does play the electric bass on that song, but the string bass is actually somebody else, another studio musician.
Oh, okay.
And again, his name is escaping me right now. And I should know his name. I think he's amazing, but anyway, he's escaped my mind for some reason. But anyway, but the whole God only knows, she's just amazing. But
what other
also
I'm trying to think. Was I Got You, Babe, Sonny and Cher? Was
she
her?
played on that. She played on that. She also played in The Beat Goes On.
Yeah,
She
The Beat
actually
Goes
wrote
On.
that
That's what I was
line
thinking
for the
about.
and The Beat Goes On.
That's
And
what I was thinking about.
she did These Boots Are Made for Walking. That
Yeah,
boom, 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 boom,
yeah.
boom, boom. She
That's
did that. She
I
did
can't.
she did in my Midnight Confessions from the Grassroots. That
Oh,
bum,
okay.
bum, 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 that in my Midnight Confession. I love that. She did Feeling All Right from Joe Cocker. She did the
Oh,
bass for that. That bass
oh,
is just like the first time I heard that, I was like,
oh.
I didn't even know it was her. And what was so amazing is a lot of songs that I really loved the bass on. I was shocked to find out later that she was the bassist, and I was like, well, that's the reason I liked it. I just like her.
I
Um,
Wow. I had
she
no
plays
idea
with
she played on that.
she insists upon flat strings, and also she tapes a strip of felt. She just tapes a strip of felt right across the strings, and to help to eliminate a lot of the noise and feedback. And so that's how she gets a clear sound. And that people spend all kinds of money, and all it takes is a 25-cent piece of felt and a strip of tape. And she said
Wow.
it'll last you a year.
That's great.
She changes it about once a year. Yeah.
Did she play on Monkeys records too?
She played on several Monkees records, but I couldn't tell you which ones she did and which ones she didn't. But I know she didn't do all of them, but I know she did a lot.
Yeah.
Also, Glen Campbell,
Yeah.
Neil Diamond. Quincy Jones wouldn't do anything without her.
Mm-hmm.
After the first time she played for him, he would not record anything without her.
Wow.
Every movie soundtrack, everything, he was like, nope, she's my bass player. That's it. But yeah, she's just incredible, and so she's my number one, and I think everybody knew she was probably going to be my number one before we even started.
Well, great one. That's no one can argue with that pick. That's
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, but she's the biggest inspiration to me, and she's still with us.
Yeah.
She's still with us. So if anybody wants an autographed picture of her, now's the time.
Yeah.
She has a really nice website, carolk.com.
Oh,
So wherever she teaches, she has all kinds of free lessons on there, and information about the bass. And she I should have brought some of my materials down. I think we'll have to do a video about our number ones.
Mm-hmm.
Where I think we should do a video sometime down the road about James Jamerson and Carol Kay, so we can like really get into every song they played, and
Yeah.
But awesome. She sent if you order anything from her at all, she sends you some sheet music from something that she's written. She sent me the sheet music for Feeling All Right.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I can't do it.
No.
I tried, and I'm sure if I keep trying, eventually I'll get it. But
two chords, that song. I figured out my own little bass line for that song.
but the it's I can't do it right. Well, I can't do it right.
That is the genius with these people, is that you can.
I know. I mean, I can do it, but it just sounds like, oh, that's adequate.
Yeah. There's no way. That's genius. There's a.
But it doesn't. Yeah. It doesn't have that something. I don't know. And maybe it's just because I need to play it again and again and again. But
that's what makes.
There's just something magical. Mm-hmm.
It is. That's what makes these Jamerson and Carol Kay number one. Like that, you can't get the feel that they have and the instinct and whatever they have inside them that they bring out. It's hard to emulate. It's almost impossible to. You can play the notes, but no way it sounds the same.
I know it doesn't. It doesn't. Oh, you know what I forgot to mention? My number 5, Susie Quattro. I found out that her last name was actually Quattrochi. I can't even pronounce it. Quattrocchi. I bet you that's Italian.
I know why she her name anyway.
Yeah, she shortened it to Quattro for a reason. But this was so much fun. I enjoyed this.
This was awesome.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna try to do this every week, and so I don't know what our next week will be yet. We'll figure it out. And
players we can cover. I was just looking at all the ones I left out today that people are going to say, "What about that guy? What about that guy?" There's still lots of honorable mentions.
Yeah.
Sure.
Do a little. If you want to, you have more honorable mentions. You go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to. Well, just like John Paul Jones from Led Zeppelin.
Of course. Yeah.
Lemon Song. Try and learn that. He did that.
Yeah.
He improvised that.
He's pretty amazing.
Oh, there's on the internet you can get the Lemon Song. You can get all the music and tablature for the Lemon Song. It's 7 pages.
Oh yeah.
Try and play that.
You're kidding me.
No, it's incredible. Yeah.
Wow.
The first rock song I learned when I took lessons right away, and the guy taught me this because I'm somewhat musical because I've been playing the banjo for 40 years,
right.
So I don't really have problems, understanding anything. But he taught me "Money," from Roger Waters.
Pink Floyd. Oh my gosh.
And so I got home and worked on that and played that. Once I got that down, it was like, oh my God, I'm sold now, man. This is it. This is the instrument for me.
That's another money. That's another one that's just, and there's so many great bassists I wanted to mention. I was trying to put people on the list that maybe bass players know, but most people don't know who Marcus Miller or Victor Wooten or James Patterson. I like our lists a lot because we put people on there that that aren't, although you had to mention Paul McCartney, and I almost put him on my list too, but then I was like, no, Glenn will have him on his list, and we'll just that'll be good. And I'm trying to find the guy. Dang it, Larry Graham.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, he did a lot of work with Sly and the Family Stone.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah. So I was trying to think of who was the bassist for Sly and the Family Stone, and yeah, he did. He did the bass. Also, Graham Central Station. He had his own band. So he's another one that I probably should have made at least my honorable mentions. And then of course Bernard Edwards too. Oh great, yeah.
That's one of the great albums of all time. This album.
How do you just have your albums at your fingertips? It's a big ordeal for me to get.
My heavy rotation albums are sitting here, and that's it.
Oh wow!
The hell out of this. I'm just going to look and
see who I still haven't done that. I need to. That is the best idea. Everybody needs that. In case you guys aren't aware, Glenn has a heavy rotation box. So the stuff listening to the most.
I think I can show it.
Yeah, look at that. Isn't that what a great idea? That is awesome. And then so you just kind of rotate things out of there.
Yeah, whatever I'm in the mood to play most, that's what gets in this. And this album, I picked this up used a couple of weeks ago and just absolutely frigging love this album.
It can't go wrong.
Here's the list of the artists, but it doesn't say which person. Oh, Larry Graham. Yeah, Larry Graham's the bass player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Esperanza Spalding is another, young woman, a young female bassist. She should have been in my honorable mentions as well.
Incredible. Yeah, I have
Yeah.
CDs. Yeah, she's an amazing musician.
Yeah. Oh, there's just so many. I'm just, but I'm sure that other people, have ideas of their, we should probably leave some room for people to put their favorite bass players in the comments.
Well, if there's anybody wants us to discuss on our next video, please leave a comment and we can.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. And and even if it's somebody we aren't super familiar with, that's like even better because it gives us a chance to listen to their catalog and really, talk about them.
Yes, that would be great. So please, anybody we didn't mention, please mention, and we'll look it up and learn something. Yeah, that's.
I had a lot of fun today, Glenn. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
So I'm going to get this edited and try to get some pictures
Please subscribe to this woman's channel if you're not a subscriber. She's amazing.
I always forget I have to go backwards.
I know, I did that.
Hey, yes, no, subscribe to your channel too. Glen Kellaway from the basement.
Awesome. You have a great day.
You too, Glenn. Thanks.
Ciao, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.